What's up guys, and Funape here. Now, have you ever played a Pokemon game and you wonder what a Pokemon you should add to your team so that way you can make the game more lovable, memorable, and somewhat easy to complete? Well, I certainly have, because I've actually been going through loads of apparently some of the best Pokemon to put in your team in a certain game. But I just feel like some of the Pokemon they put aren't exactly what I would call the best. So I decided to make my top 10 best Pokemon to put in a certain game. And I thought this would be a fun little series to do, like if this one does well. But I'm going to start with Red and Blue. I decided to do Red and Blue first and not include Yellow because in Yellow, certain members of teams have changed in certain characters. So that means that some Pokemon are good in like Red and Blue, but those ones that are good in Red and Blue might not necessarily be good in Yellow. So that's why I decided to just stick with Red and Blue. And if this video does well, I'll do Yellow next. And then if that one does well, I'll do the rest. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if this information was helpful, if I included any of your favourite Pokemon, and if you have like your own personal opinion on what you think any Pokemon are good in a certain game, let me know down in the comment section below because I like to hear from you guys. And also keep in mind that I'd like some suggestions for my 150 subscriber special. I've been given some ideas off Instagram, but I feel like I need to include you guys as well. So be sure to let me know down in the comment section below what you want me to do. So without further ado, let's get into the video. At number 10, we have Charizard. Now, I will be honest with you guys. Charizard is definitely the worst starter to pick in the Gen 1 games, no matter which one you pick. Like, it is helpful in certain areas, but compared to the others, it's not that helpful. So that's why I would recommend you don't pick Charizard as your starter. But if you really, really want to, then go for your life. But I just wouldn't recommend it. But still, Charizard can shine in certain places. Like, here's some for examples. Like, Charizard is really good against Erica. It's good against Koga, the Fighting Dojo. It's good against, maybe a Lorelai's Jinx. And it could also help out in the champion battle against Blue. But other than that, there aren't many two other places that can really, really shine. Like, yes, it can and do somewhat well against Blaine, but it's a fire type. Look, Blaine uses fire types and using a fire type. Like, why would you use a fire type in a fire type gym, right? So, I just feel like Charizard is a really good Pokemon, but it doesn't really shine in Red and Blue. But it is still really, really helpful to have on hand. It's helpful to have on hand because, say if you really want to use a Fire-type Pokemon and you're not a big fan of Arcanine, Ninetales, or Magmar, then Charizard's really your best bet, but maybe because, one, it can flamethrower anything to death, and two, its flying type can actually be really handy to have. But, like I said, it's not that good. But it's still really, really helpful in a playthrough, somewhat. It is good in a playthrough, it's just not as good as the rest of the Pokemon on this list. That's why it's at 10, but still, Charizard is really helpful in certain areas. At number 9, we have Dodrio. Now, in my own opinion, Dodrio is easily the second best flying type second best flying type Pokemon that you can have on your team. And here's why. If you didn't already know, back then, critical hits were based on how high your speed is. And Dodrio is one of the fastest Pokemon in the game. So you're going to be critical hitting pretty much every time you attack. Plus it's also got really, really devastating physical attack. Plus, Tri-Attack back then was a physical attack. So if you use a combination of Drill Peck and Tri-Attack, you're going to be one-shotting most people. Not only that, Tri-Attack has a 30% chance of either paralyzing you, burning you, or freezing you. So it's a pretty handy Pokemon to have. like with Charizard, Dojo is going to knock out loads of like grass types you're going to encounter. Erica's team, Koga's team, the Fighting Dojo, and quite a lot of other people's Pokemon. Because like there are quite a lot of people that tend to use like grass types or fighting types. Like I definitely think like even if you don't use it on like grass and fighting types, it's still really useful for other types of Pokemon because it has a high crit ratio and it's also got pretty decent physical attacks that it can learn. So that's why Dojo is definitely a must. At number 8, we have Fearow. Some people may argue that Dojo is the better flying type, but in my own opinion, I personally think that Fearow is the better one. I'm sorry, but I just feel like it is. The reason I feel like Fearow is the better Pokemon to have, because 1, you can get it earlier in the game, and 2, like by the time you actually level like Spearow into a Fearow, and then when you get to the point of when you can find a Doduo, your old Fearow's going to be pretty overpowered, have a decent moveset, and it's at a decent level. So I just feel like that Fearow is definitely a better Pokemon than Dodrio. Plus, like, it's also got some really devastating attacks in its arsenal, like Fly, Drill Peck, and so many other like pretty powerful or like physical or normal moves as well. Because not only that, it can learn Hyper Beam, and back then it was a physical move. So Hyper Beam, dead. And if you actually knocked it out in one hit back then, it didn't have to recharge for the next attack. So that was pretty helpful. Plus, not only that, Fearow had some really decent speed back then as well. So if you use Drill Peck or something like, since Drill Peck has a high crit ratio, you use Drill Peck, most likely they're going to go down. Plus, if you use Hyper Beam, critical hit, dead. Like, I just feel like Fearow is such an underappreciated Pokemon, and more people should put it on their team, because Fearow is OP as hell. At number 7, we have Snorlax. Now, I just feel like Snorlax is useful in any playthrough that it's in. Not only can it pretty much knock out anybody in a single attack, but it was super powerful in the original games. Like Body Slam, Hyper Beam, no matter what normal move you put on it, it's going to destroy pretty much the entire field. If you didn't already know, back then, like I said earlier, back then any normal move was a physical move. So, no matter what physical move you put on that Snorlax, it's going to do some hefty amount of damage. Plus, it can also learn many moves from many different types, such as Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, so on and so forth. Plus, having a Hyper Beam on a Snorlax doesn't exactly hurt, because Snorlax back then had a major attack stat. So if you use Hyper Beam on any Pokemon apart from a Ghost type, you're pretty much going to destroy everything on the field. Plus, its Hyper Beam back then means that you could use it as many times as you want. If the Pokemon previously was defeated, you can use it as many times as you want. Because like, Snorlax's Hyper Beam is so devastating. I should know, because basically, I was struggling to beat Blue's Alakazam in Pokemon on, like, I can't remember which one, but I think I remember it was in Gen 1. I used Snorlax to defeat his Alakazam with the first Hyper Beam. That's how powerful Snorlax is. Like, it deserves to be on any and all like best teams, if I'm honest with you. At number 6, we have Nido King. Now, Nido King is here because not only can you get it quite early in the game, but you can also evolve it quite early in the game. Let me explain. Basically, Nidoran male can be found quite easily. I don't know if it was a version exclusive or not. I can't remember. Like, I do know that you can get it quite early on in the game. Like, I think it's either before or after the first gym battle anyway. And you can evolve it at level 16, I think? Yeah, level 16. And then that's about the right time when you go into Mount Moon. And in Mount Moon, there is a hidden item, a Moonstone. So, not only can you get a Nido King before the second gym, but after you beat the second gym, you then move on to Viridian City, you get the TM for Dig. Which means you have a stab move that can easily beat Lieutenant Surge's team. Not only can Nido King do all of this, but it can learn a variety of many moves from many types. My personal favourites are Thunderbolt and Ice Beam, which means it can pretty much take on all of its type weaknesses. Well, the majority of them anyway. Like the biggest being the Water type, since it's a Ground type, and an Ice type, it's that way it can take out the Ground types because it's part Poison type. Like, we're mainly using it as a Ground type though, but like, it's just so powerful to have on hand. Like, I'm pretty sure it can take out so many important people. Like, the main ones that come to mind right now are Blaine, Giovanni, and maybe a handful of Pokemon in the Pokemon League. Like, it is such a powerful Pokemon, and I think it deserves more love. At number 5, we have Rideon. Rideon alone can pretty much take out the majority of the most important trainers with 2 stab moves alone. Rock Slide and Earthquake. Like, Rock Slide and Earthquake is such a decent combination in the Gen 1 games because that can pretty much take out the majority of the most important trainers in the game. Some that come to mind are Blaine and Giovanni, definitely. Probably some like Lancet is flying types, especially his Dragonite, so that's going to be helpful. Like, I've used Rideon against Lance before, and I pretty much wiped out his entire team using only my Rideon. That's how powerful that's how you know how powerful a Pokemon is. Like, if it can do all of that, I'm pretty sure it can wipe out most teams, if I'm honest with you. Not to mention, it can be pretty handy against Blue, because it can take down his Pidgeot, his own Rideon, and his Fire type, no matter which Fire type he picks, either Charizard or Arcanine. And it could also have a Ninetales if you're playing Yellow, but we're not talking about Yellow today. Like, this is just such a great Pokemon. You guys need to experience how powerful Rideon is. Like, if you have, like, a copy of Red or Blue, put Rideon in, and you will thank me. At number 4, we have Executor. Now, Executor is here for replacement and for Venusaur and Alakazam, because Venusaur is a good Pokemon, but it can't learn too many good grass type moves, and also it can be good for replacement for Alakazam, because some people can't seem to get Alakazam because of trading. So I would recommend, if you don't want to use Venusaur and you can't get Alakazam, use Executor, because it can be just as helpful. Executor is just such a good Pokemon. Not only can you get it fairly early in the game, but not long after you catch it, you can choose to go to Celadon City, buy a Leaf Stone, and evolve it immediately, which I would highly recommend you do, because as soon as you evolve it, it can learn Psychic. And then you can also teach it the TM that you win from Erica, being Mega Drain. Mega Drain and Psychic are such a good combination, because it's a powerful, they're both really powerful moves, they're stab moves, and it can also pretty much take out quite a lot of important people in the game. Mainly, Koga's team, Giovanni's team, and also Koga's team, and maybe a handful of other Pokemon in the Pokemon League. Like, it's just such a great Pokemon, and I don't get why people don't use it. Like, it's a good replacement for Venusaur and Alakazam, so I don't get why people don't use it. Use it! Like, I promise you, you use it, you will thank me. Because you can get such a powerful Pokemon in literally no time at all. At number 3, we have Blastoise. Blastoise is easily the best starter to use in the game. And here is why. Charizard just can't really take out many important characters in the game. Venusaur is okay, but it can't learn too many decent grass moves. Like, Razor Leaf isn't going to cut it, and Solar Beam is a 2-turn move, plus it doesn't have a lot of PP. So, I'd recommend going with Blastoise, because it can take out a decent amount of people in the game. Plus, it also can learn some really dope moves. Like, some of the moves that come to mind what Blastoise can learn are like Surf, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Dig, which can actually be quite helpful if you want to use it on electric types, but I wouldn't recommend you putting Dig on Blastoise, but you can if you want to. It can also learn like Skull Bash, Bite. There are so many moves that it can learn. Like, it's just so deadly. Trust me, once you test out how powerful Blastoise is, you will thank me, because it can also take out quite a lot of important characters in the game. Being Giovanni and Blaine, quite a lot of Blues Pokemon, and some decent Pokemon in the Elite Four as well, because you can put Ice Beam on it, you're going to knock out Lance's whole team. Like, with Blastoise alone, you can easily take out Lance's whole team, because maybe don't use it on Gyarados though, but if you want to use Blastoise on Gyarados, you can. But I think he runs a Gyarados, I can't remember. But still, he can pretty much take out Lance's entire team if you want to. That's why Blastoise definitely deserves to be on this list. However, there are still 2 other Pokemon who I think are far superior to Blastoise in every way. At number 2, we have Lapras. If you want to run a Lapras, I would highly recommend you get it as soon as possible, because then you can level it up to a decent level, and you can also get a decent moveset on it. Then it can easily take out pretty much the entire game. Not only can Lapras take out the plethora of fire types, flying types, ground types, and rock types that you may encounter, also including dragon types I literally just remembered, but it can pretty much take out any important character that you come across when you get it. Because Lapras can learn many different types of moves, plus its stab moves are extremely deadly. Surf and Ice Beam are enough to pretty much take out more or less any opponent, because it's got a really good stats all around. Like, if you didn't know, it's 2 special stats combined into 1. And its special stats are really OP. Plus, it's also got really good defense. So, it's an all-around good Pokemon with plethora of many different types of moves. What's wrong with that? I definitely think that Lapras is such a dope Pokemon to have in your team. However, one Pokemon surpasses it. And it was by a lot. And I'm pretty sure you all know what it is. And finally, at number 1, we have Alakazam. I'm certain everybody saw this coming. If you didn't already know, Alakazam has got an insanely high special stat. Like I said earlier, the special attack and special defense combined into 1. So that means if you get hit by a special attack, the special stat will pretty much do nothing against Alakazam. Plus, it's also got a really deadly psychic attack. Being psychic. So, with a high special attack and a really a good special defense, with a really high hitting stab move, you're going to knock out pretty much anybody you come across. Plus, if you didn't already know, back then, psychic types weren't that effective against ghost types. So, say if a ghost type hit a psychic type, it does nothing. I repeat, it does absolutely nothing. at all. So your only resort to taking out an Alakazam is a Bug-type move. But guess what? There are no decent hitting Bug-type moves in the game! So that pretty much means Alakazam is indestructible. Not only that, with Psychic, you can pretty much destroy anybody on the field, no matter what type you are. That's because like no type in the game at this point was immune to Psychic types. So you can easily just spam Alakazam anywhere you go. Just as long as you have like Confusion or Psychic. Confusion to start off with, then replace it with Psychic. Then you can pretty much just stick Alakazam in your party and only use Alakazam. Because it can easily wipe out every Pokemon off the map. Still, what I'm saying is, Alakazam is indestructible. And that's why it's at number 1. And there you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. And be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if I included some of your favourite Pokemon in here. If you think I've missed a Pokemon. And if you are thinking that you could come up with your own top 10 useful Pokemon in Red and Blue, let me know down in the comment section below because I like to hear your opinions. Also, guys, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below what you want me to do for my 150th subscriber special. Like I said earlier, my friends actually gave me some ideas on Instagram, but I would like to hear what you want me to do. Like some of the suggestions were eat as many hot dogs as you can, another food challenge, singing a cover of Don't Stop Believing, I think. But I want to hear what you want me to do. I've only got 3 subscribers left until I do this video, so please tell me what you want me to do down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below, share this video with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel. It's been Inferno today. Okay, that's all from me, so till the next time, this is Infernape, signing off. Bye!